hang on. Let's edit that. Us. Clans. Oh, we're back. There we go. Get rid of these. Oh, get rid of that. Every time. So we're back. Let's take this out, pop out chat. And upload the TikToks. Okay. That's all we need to know. Get that there, and we can start the business. The usual business. Oh, I don't know why that's doing that. Right. Okay, so obviously those of you that tuned in earlier, we were with Brehon Academy, Kevin at Brehon Academy, for a talk on Brehon Law. That's now uploaded onto the other channel. I don't want to say the red button channel because TikTok gets a bit antsy with me whenever I mention the other channel. But yes, if you click the link in my top of my TikTok, it'll take you to that place and you can watch that live about Brehon Law. But now we're back for our usual live. A little bit later than I wanted, but I had to do some editing on that last video and it took a little bit longer than I intended. So those who wanted to know about your clan history and your surname history, or maybe if you asked a question in the last live an hour ago, obviously I wasn't taking family history questions unless they were Brehons, so judges, lawmakers, half my family's names are there. That's good. That, you know, that's what you want. Then you know, at least you know half your family. There's people that don't have that don't have that luxury, unfortunately. But yeah, now we're back to the normal. Hello there, Finola. How you doing? The normal routine, shall we say? So we can start doing the questions. So I'll just wait. I know there's a couple coming in here. Okay, there's actually more than I intended. All right, let's just get straight into it then. Let's just get straight into the crux of it, shall we? And then we can okay, we'll start from, I know someone set up here at the top, so I'll just scroll up to Meatloaf. Hello, Meatloaf. Blake is you're grand, thank you. Good. Blake is a common surname in Ireland. It's got Irish and a Norman background to it. So the Norman background is associated with one of the 14 tribes of Galway. So they were a mercantile family in charge of trade, governance, politics of Galway. There's 14 tribes and Blake was one of them. And then I believe the Blowick family gets anglicised to Blake as well, and they are a Mayo family. So obviously still within Connacht, so I'm sure there's a lot of intermingling between the two, and sort of hard to distinguish who's who. But yes, let's see Fergal Farrell for me. Yeah, there you go. Farrell from Longford. Originally, I've got a video on them. Originally from Leitrim, and they were subjects to the O'Rourke's, and they expanded south, and eventually in the 14th century, I believe, they gained independence from, is it 14, as late as the 14th century? Might be a little bit earlier actually, but they a couple of centuries earlier, but they gained independence from the O'Rourke's. So but I do have a video on them. So yeah, Um, Flanagan. Yeah, the Flanagans have three branches. The probably more famous, well, one of the branches is the Erna family, who are landholding families within Turman lands, which is sanctuary lands of monastic sites. And they're from Fermanagh. Um, so they didn't take holy orders, but they were very involved in monastic sites, and did provide priests for some of them. Then you have a smaller, sort of less recorded uh, branch of the Dacia, so the area of Waterford. So if you have any connection to Waterford, it could be that branch that you're sort of related to. I do have a video on that recently. Um, if you're sort of looking for that, and then I believe the sort of main Flanagans are from sort of like Galway, Roscommon area, related to the O'Connors, I believe. I've got a connection to Limerick. So I would say that the main branch is the one that you're most associated with, the Roscommon branch. Uh, but Limerick was a hub during the Industrial Revolution, and a lot of families from all over Ireland would obviously come in together. So the Roscommon line is probably the more famous and more well attested, but you do have a Fermanagh branch, and you do have a Waterford branch too. And Limerick is really probably the same distance from all of them, so it could be interesting. And then yeah, Healy, I've been asking for 10 minutes. I haven't even been on for 10 minutes. I've been on for 6 minutes and 1 second. How? I can't say I've been asking for 10 for 10 minutes. I haven't even been here for 10 minutes. It's Healy has a couple of branches. It's got an English branch and it's got an Irish branch. The English obviously came across probably during the plantations. Or around, so you're talking 16th, 17th century, during the early modern period. And then the two Irish branches are I think probably the most famous is the Sligo branch. Um, so from Sligo is probably the more famous of the two, more well attested than the Cork branch. But I wouldn't know. I just know of the Healy's more, but the other ones are from Muskerry, which is in Cork. I don't know if they're associated with the tribal groups within those areas. Sligo's a bit of a mix because it's influenced by the Kin O'Connell, it's influenced by the Ebru and Brefna, it's influenced by the Efi Mui, which are all tribal groups. So Sligo's a bit of a mishmash of families. So I'm not sure which one they're from, but Sligo and Muskerry is where the Healys mostly come from. Aren't O'Hara's and O'Gara's who took the soup? Who took the soup is so wrong on so many levels. There's a multitude of reasons why families became Protestant, and taking the soup is I would say a nationalistic term that really simplifies our history to a problematic level. There would be but they were no longer clans by the time the soup could be taken. The end of the Gaelic Order happened in 1608. From then on, you have the the Tudor conquest of Ireland is just completed, and Ireland is for the first time completely ruled by the English, and the clan system is gone. So clans didn't take the soup. There were points in all the history where multitude of Irish families sided with the English, or sided with the Normans, or sided with the Norse, or sided with the Welsh, or whatever, Scots, during Edward Bruce's campaign of Ireland. There were a multitude of reasons for it. Sometimes it was just because just to get rid of a rival. Sometimes it was another reason completely. So taking the soup is a very problematic term, and it's not really relevant to medieval history. Hello, Cat, dear Ditch, and hello, Sheehan, dear Ditch. Um, Welcome back in, you guys. O'Sullivan. Yeah. They are they're now from Kerry, Beara, and Cork area. They were originally a part of the Oonocta Castle. So I have a video on the Oonocta if you want to know a bit more about their beginnings. But they originally centred in Cashel, which is in Tipperary. The Oonocta were from a little area just south of it called Knockgraffin. A Norman castle was put on top of that. A Norman castle was put on top of that um, area during the Norman conquest of Ireland. But they would make their way down. They would settle in Cork for a little while, for I think about 60, 70 years. And then they would be pushed on by the McCarthys. And they would settle in Beara. Okay, live. So yeah, they where they would become break off into, not break off really, but branch off into two branches: the O'Sullivan Moor and the O'Sullivan Beara. They would own about 40% of Kerry, the Dingle Peninsula. And they were the hereditary inaugurators of the McCarthys. In fact, they nearly stopped an inauguration in the 17th century during the 9 Years' War, or 16th century, during the 9 Years' War of Donald McCarthy, because they supported someone else. So they nearly stopped an inauguration altogether, because that's how powerful they were. They were the second most powerful family in Cork. And that's probably why they're so prominent even today. So yeah, but I have a full video on them if you're on the other channel, if you're wishing to learn more about them. O'Neill, or O'Neill. Yes, the O'Neills are an Urner family. And then someone asked about Neville earlier, and that's O'Neill gets anglicised to Neville, and they're from Limerick. So they are I don't know if you were here for the initial talk about the Urners, but I do have a video on it. They are landholding family within churches, monastic sites. So they're hereditary landowning families centred around churches. So normally, I think it's quite nice that when there's families that have links to churches, because a lot of churches have ruins, so you can go back and you can see the lands in which your family owned, which is very nice. But yeah, what part of the of Ireland are the Walsh family from, please? Unfortunately, Walsh is from everywhere. Walsh is a problematic name in the sense of that there is no one individual descended from one individual. Walsh is a variation of Welsh. It's a name given to Welsh settlers in Ireland. I found no record of it being adopted by Irish people. So, like a lot of English names, Irish families took English names that related to their own, or Scottish names that related to their own, like Campbell or Armstrong, have unrelated Irish branches. Walsh, though, doesn't seem to have that, or at least no record of it. So it's a record. It's a name given to Welsh settlers, but the Welsh were part of the Norman army. They were a big part of the Norman army. The first Normans to arrive were Cambro Normans in 1169, and they were of Welsh and Norman ancestry. And their lands were in Wales, so they had a lot of Welsh soldiers who were given lands in Ireland. Most of those settlements failed, so a lot of them went back. But from that period up to the 17th century, you have multiple waves of Welsh people settling in Ireland and then being given this name as they settled. So you have a 500-year period of multiple families, hundreds of families coming across, being given this name, and they settled all over Ireland. There's not a single place, although I believe there is a Walsh mountain range or an area called the Walshes or something near in Leinster, attributed to the Walsh family. It's either in Kilkenny or Leinster. It's in this part of Ireland, anyway, the southeast. But there's not just one area for the Walshes. O'Rourke. Do I have a video on the O'Rourkes? I mean, I do have a video on the O'Reillys, I believe. So if you watch that video, you get a lot of context for the O'Rourkes, since their origin is the same, because the O'Rourkes and the O'Reillys are cousins from the same paternal line. But the O'Rourkes have two branches, two unrelated branches, but the O'Rourkes of Breffna, originally probably from Leitrim, they claim descent from a group called the Ebruin, which the O'Connors descend from, the famous O'Connor kings of Ireland. The O'Rourkes claim descent from the same group called the Ebruin Breffna. This is a fabrication. It's propaganda. It's not real. They edited their genealogies to fit themselves into it. But either way, they were rulers of the kingdom of Breffna. Now, mostly they were kingdoms of West Breffna, and the O'Reillys were kingdoms of East Breffna, but sometimes they ruled all of it. They were even kings of Connacht once. They were a very powerful family. In fact, they are the reason why one of the main reasons why Dermot MacMurrough, the individual who went and invited the Normans across Ireland, went to go get the Normans, because of his trouble with the O'Rourkes. There's a MacRourke family from Meath as well, who I believe are part of the Southern O'Neills, so distantly related to Niall of the Nine Hostages and the O'Neills. And then there is a small group from Cork who were originally part of the Breffna family. They probably come. We don't know who it was, but it's obviously a challenger for the kingship. Has failed in his challenge and been exiled. He fled down to McCarthy lands, and the McCarthys gave him a hereditary title of deal like a beekeeper. But I know it doesn't sound like a great illustrious title today, but in medieval Ireland it was quite a prominent title, and they're recorded in some works surviving and thriving under McCarthy rule in Munster. So there may be O'Rourkes in Cork or from the Cork area. You are still descended from this main line, but it's in the medieval period you split. Cavan. I heard the Moors are from Donegal. Is this true? I think the Donegal Moors are originally Scottish, or English. Donegal was heavily planted. I'm unaware of a Muir branch in Donegal outside of the plantation families, but that doesn't mean to say I can say for certain. I'm not 100% on that. I'd have to research that. The O'Moores are probably the most famous Moors in Ireland. They're probably the family that gets most people associate with when they have the Moore surname. Obviously, it's a very prominent English and Scottish name too. So, you've got to be careful with that. A lot of interchangeable, a lot of anglicizations of Irish names that became more. O'Maher, Moore, Moher. There's a lot of branches of it. So, but I will double check on that when I do the Muir video, just to get that sort of just to prove that. Hart has a couple of branches. The most famous branch is the Sligo branch. They're probably the most well attested, the family that most people associate with. But the problem with Art is because it comes from Art, the surname, the eponym, the first name of the individual is Art. It's actually an abbreviation of a lot of Irish names like Harty, Hegarty, Carter, McCarthy, Arthur, MacArthur. So Hart is can be related to all those names, So wherever you find those names, you will find hearts as well, because it's the names are interchangeable. But the most famous branch is definitely from Sligo, but it can be found all over Ireland. Uh, oh, hang on, sorry, DC. I'm guessing that's McGee, short for McGagan. McGagans are a Meath family. You don't have to. Uh, thanks, Kat. Thanks for stepping in. Thanks for stepping in, Kat. Sorry, I was waffling. When I waffle, I take a bit of time. I like to try and get some information on, some information about the families, before I really don't like to just point to a location and go, that's where they're from, unless I'm not entirely sure of the tribal group they're related to. So I really try and have a bit of a talk about it first. Um, so apologies if it takes me a couple of minutes to get to you. Um, but yeah, so McGagans have two branches that are unrelated. We got the Meath branch, which I'll come to in a second. You've got the Erchiela family. So that's more anglicised to McGahan, I believe, but it's a variation of McGagan. So they're one of the families, and they are related to the likes of the McMahons, probably the O'Carrolls, you know, those sort of branches. The other McGagans, like I say, they are from Meath. I believe, if I remember correctly, they are part of the Southern Neil. So, but I'm not 100% on that. You'll have to just bear with that video for when that comes out. Whether they are, I'm pretty confident though they're part of the Southern Neil, so descended from Niall of the Nine Hostages. Distantly through, I'm related to the likes of uh, the male Shocknall, King of Ireland. So, yeah, and obviously they were quite prominent right up until, I believe, like the 19th century. So they're well attested in records. So yeah. Murray's Scottish, Irish. It's a variation of Murphy. It's a variation of McMurray. It's a variation of a lot of names. Just because your surname Murray is more associated with the Scottish spelling, but spelling never denotes the area of origin. So just because it's spelled a specific way, that's associated with the so like we'll take McCormick and McCormick as an example. McCormick is mostly associated with Scotland. It's mostly spelt like that in Scotland. McCormack is mostly spelt like that in Ireland. MACK. So most people attribute that whenever there are McCormick, they must be from Scotland, but it doesn't work like that. And it's so yeah, just because you have the surname Murray does not mean that you are of Scottish descent, or anything like that. So, Ogletree, you said you were going to look that up for me, but I couldn't make the next time. It's okay, sir. They are a Scottish family. They are from, I believe it's Ayrshire. I believe is where I found out that they're originally from. I believe it's a local, it's a name associated with an area in Ayrshire as well. So if they're in Ireland, they are a plantation family. They've come across with the plantations most likely in the 17th century. I have found no example of a native Irish family associated with that. Ryan, thank you very much for subscribing and becoming a member. I really do appreciate it. Welcome to the clan. I hope to see you on our members only lives, and hopefully we're going to start doing members only raffle for history books. You do not need to pay more to get into that raffle, the members will just be your membership will be a payment for history books. So we'll talk more about that on the next members live, which we do once a month, where you get, and also any messages you can message me on TikTok, and obviously I will reply to your messages. So yeah, thanks very much, Ryan. Joseph, welcome back. You stop gifting. Thank you very much, though. Where can I find this map? On my computer. You need to hack my computer. When I've got a few more names on it, as you can see, there's still a few blank spots on it. When I've finished it, or at least got it to a level where I am, happy enough for it, I will upload it onto the Clans and Dynasties website. I see O'Breslin on your map. Would this be in Northern Ireland? Yes. So, well, they're originally from Donegal, which is in modern day the Ireland, Republic of Ireland, and they moved down to Fermanagh, which is in modern day part of Northern Ireland. The O'Breslins are. I have a video on the O'Breslins. But they migrated down to Fermanagh. They were a very famous family, an Erna family. They were in charge of historic saintly artifact, a bell, and they owned church lands, and they were lawyers and judges, and quite a well established family. So yeah, they moved to. There is a branch of Breslins originally from part of the Dayshire, but they seem to have gone extinct. So, if you're part of a southern family, if your family's originally from this area of the world, I'd love to see your DNA results, because it'd be amazing to see if it's a revival of this family. But if not, then more likely associated with this family in Fermanagh. We're all coming for your computer, map. You can go for your computer. It's just filled with books and documents and pictures of my, and more documents and more documents, Scottish surnames, the Ragman roll surnames. There's nothing on here. Just boring history. I was going to hang on. Whoa, all right. Too many names. Right. Let me go back up here. I've missed names. And I don't like missing names. It's not nice. But I unfortunately on TikTok, you're definitely getting missed on names. I'm sorry, but there's just 200 of you messaging like crazy. I try. I promise you, I do try to get as many as I can done. And you'll have to forgive me. My brain is a little fried. I already had a talk this evening, so yeah, it's just one of those things. Gahan. Yeah, Gahan's got a lot of variations. It's a variation of Gawn. It's like McGawn, McGeehan. I believe there's a few variations as well of it being part of longer names. I can't even remember them all. I do know it gets two English translations though. Sawyers and Wynne, the O'Gahans, but they're because it's a variation of quite a lot of surnames. It is found in every county. I've never individually researched each branch to find out, how I'll break down each branch and their location. I've never done it with the Gahans. I just know about them. So when I do the Gahan video, I'll break it down a bit better for you. But yeah, it is found everywhere just purely because it's a variation of a lot of names. I believe it's a variation of at least like 5 or 6 Irish names, and it's been anglicised to Gahan. Um, Ogletree, yeah, you said you were going to look at, but oh no, I've already read that one. Are the O'Hanlons descended from the Nile Hunters? They were rulers of the Kingdom of Hierla in modern-day County Ara. Do you know much about that area? Yes, Matt, my family's from that area. The area that the O'Hanlons ruled from, called Tandragee, is a village that my family is from. Um, so the castle, it still exists now. It's a Tito castle. It's a Tito Crisp castle. But no, the O'Hanlons are not related to Niall of Nine Hostages. The Kingdom of Arheller was the early rival to the O'Neills, or well, the Kenaloan Niall's descendants. So no, they're not related at all. Some Arhellan families did graft their genealogies onto the O'Neills. There were many attempts, same with the Dalriada families up in Antrim. There were many families that tried to sort of later on claim that descent, as it were. Um, but no, I know the mistake is as well. The O'Hanlons are from the Enailin, which is very similar to the Enail, or the Enailan. It's very similar. It's a very similar looking name. It's a very similar looking branch, but they're not related at all. And it doesn't help that the barony that they're from eventually got called O'Neill land, because eventually the O'Neills of the Fuse came in. A branch of the O'Neills. This is O'Neill of the Fuse territory. This branch here. So they ended up becoming like subjugates to the O'Hanlons. But then, like I say, original point, they're not related. So yeah. Yeah, it's a lot of. Oh, hang on. I need to get my. People are still wishing me happy birthday. It's not. It's only my birthday for like 25 more minutes. um. People. I was told Mulvey's from Cork, but Google tells me Northern Ireland. Mulvey's got a lot of branches. Mulvey is also got a branch from Leitrim, as well. And it's also got a branch in Cavern, which I believe the current day Northern Irish branches descend from, and it's associated with Cork as well. So yeah, it's a variation of a couple of names: Mulville, Mulvey. Thanks, Roisin. Thank you very much. It's a culmination of a lot of names, so that's why you're getting confused with what online tells you, because a lot of online sites will just give you generic information. It'll just see on a census McCarthy, so all McCarthys must be from Cork, even though I've proven that McCarthys there's unrelated branches in Leinster, in Galway, in Sligo. So yeah, it's just one of those things. Josh, I have a full video on the O'Keans O'Cahans. If you're wanting that, it's on the page. Just go into it. You'll see O'Kane, O'Cahan, O'Keen. Primarily, the two most famous branches are the O'Cahans of Antrim, related to the O'Neills, distantly, and the branches of the O'Keens from the Dacia. And the other ones are from Cork as well. There's quite a few branches because it comes from a couple of names, O'Cahan and O'Keen, which all get anglicised to Kane, and all its variations. So yeah, but I do already have a video on them if you want to go see it. Okay, thanks. Where are you from? I'm from County Down. This is where I'm from. DMC Gogs. I don't know how. Is it DMC Gogs? Like McGagan? DMC Gag? But anyway, yeah, I'm from County Down. My family, I'm originally from the Banbridge area, and my family are from Armagh. But my family have lived in this area of the world for probably 1,000 years. um, Kelly's another name that's got a lot of branches. So Kelly is got English, Scottish, and Irish branches. So it's a bit problematic for a lot of people to work it out. I think most Kellys. So you've got the Scottish Kellys that come across with with the plantations in the early modern period. So sort of 17th, 16th, 17th century. They're Scottish, obviously. But the problem is that there's already Kellys in Ulster. There's Kellys up in Derry. There's Kellys, already here. So as the centuries go on, people aren't really sure which Kelly they descend from. But the most famous branches that most websites will give you are the O'Kellys of the Yavina, which is this group here. And they are from Roscommon, and they are the one that you see that coat of arms with the grey gate and the two silver foxes or wolves, or I don't know, there's two bears. Anyway, blue background, silver gate. That's the coat of arms that's attributed to them. It's the branch that most people claim descent from. But you've got the Keeleys in Clare, you've got the Keeleys and Kellys in Laois. There's three branches in Laois. Keeley and Kelly are interchangeable. You've got the Keeleys in Tipperary. All of them become Kelly as well. So all Keeley, but they all get anglicised to Kelly over the years. And then I do have a video on this branch of Kelly, the O'Kellys, of Coola. So they're from an area just outside Dublin. I already have a video on them, and I sort of highlight some of the other O'Kelly branches as well. So it might be worth a nosy if you're looking. Finola, the man, name's Mike, or Michael, or Michal. So Gahan was a former Gagan, is that right? No, it's not a former Gagan, it's a Gavin. Sorry, Gagan, Gavin. If you need me to clarify that, that's fine. I know. Cheers, JD Kelly. Can you do Redican, please? I've been looking but can't find where they're from. Redicans are mostly from two areas, Sligo's and Munster. So Sligo, you'll have to forgive. It's mostly what you want to look for is the Ruddy or Roddy surname as well, because that's what it mostly gets anglicised to. I don't know the full how to pronounce the full Irish word for it. It's quite a long Irish surname actually, if I remember rightly. And then North Munster are the two areas which they're found predominantly. So you're looking North Munster and sort of North Connacht would be the hotspots for the Redican surname. I think you'd stop right there. You're making it worse. I'm guessing that was back from when I did my computer math. We are small but mighty. I'm small but mighty, definitely. Kilcross, Spain. What's Spain? I thought I blocked you. I don't know the context of that. Are you in Spain? If you are, definitely being blocked. Well, I have to say it was raining all day today. Yeah, TikTok is nuts. That's why I came over here. Yeah, you're better coming across to YouTube if you are on TikTok. Are the O'Driscolls originally from Spain? No, the O'Driscolls are part of the Corker Lugder. They're part of I don't. By the way, I do not support the myth of the Gael are from Spain. I'm more of that's a 16th century propaganda that we wrote to the Spanish for their support. Although I do support that we had societies from the Bronze Age migrate into Ireland from Europe, including Spain, but not the Gaels. These are proto these are bell beakers and whatnot, not the Gael. But the O'Driscolls are part of the Corca Lyra, or Corca Lugda, and they originally were further up in Cork, but they were pushed down into the Bantry area. So the O'Driscolls are the original rulers of Munster before the McCarthys. They're not related. They were from a different lineage or a different tribe before the Owen Octors group, which the McCarthys took over. And the O'Driscolls obviously became pirates and traders. So yeah. Hang on, I'm gonna have to scroll past some of these questions. I would have come sooner if I'd known, but that it was quieter over on YouTube. Yeah, YouTube's the hidden gem. YouTube's the hidden gem. But it's it's just one of those things. Don't get me wrong. I can't keep saying that because TikTok tells me off every time I mention it. May I pick your brain? I'm researching my Buckley ancestry from County Armagh. My late grandparents' Danish this line is very Scottish, despite the name bearing very Irish Cork thoughts. No, the Buckleys there's Scottish, English, and Irish branches. Now, the English branch, I believe, is one of the only 3 or 4 families that can claim. It's a variation of Berkeley, and Buckley are interchangeable, but they can change the name to an Anglo-Saxon line, and they also had a Scottish branch, or there's a family in Scotland that claims to be descended from that same branch. I don't know if that's ever been proven through DNA, but yes, they definitely. I think they're along the lines of the Sentons as well. Sentons, another Scottish family, very famous actress. She played the Archangel Michael in Constantine with Keanu Reeves. You know who I'm on about, hopefully. Anyway, yes, but there is obviously the Buckley group from and the Bacalas as well from the Bacalas from Cork and the Buckley from Mayo, and they're the 2 like Irish branches that people associate with. So I'm not aware of a Armagh branch being of the native Irish descent. I'm just trying to think if there's another family that may be in the area that has a similar sounding name or similar. But I think Bacala and Buckla are the only ones that the O'Bacala and O'Buckla. So and obviously Armagh was an area that was planted, so it's quite possible that it was planted by English and Welsh settlers. Let me just So as you can see, it was planted by English and Scottish, and then it has native Irish. So Scottish, native Irish. Can you see that? I don't know if you can see that. Let me scroll in and scroll across. So you have Scottish, English, all planting in the same sort of area. So it's possible that you're more than likely maybe of Scottish descent, but a lot of Irish families did adopt English names, so there is that too. But I would say it's quite possible. But I can help you look into that. Matt, I'll definitely do a bit of research when I do the Buckley name. I will heavily research that area for you. Because I'm a nice guy. Just remember that, peeps. Makata, please. The name that gets given to probably my most famous historian, Dr. Paul McCotter, who most of my research, I will say that most of my research starts with him. So, yeah. So just be mindful of that. But yeah, it's a name that's mostly associated with the Vikings. It's a Norse name. It's mostly found around Dublin. Um, it's but there is the Okoiter as well, I believe. But I don't know if that's just a name that's been Gaelicized back to um, has been Gaelicized back to. So during the 19th century, a lot of families like over re-Gaelicized their name, and yeah. But I'm pretty sure McCarter is just generally all in all associated with the Hebrides, the Isle of Man in Ireland, and they're just a Norse Gael family, or a name that they've taken it from. They're a family who've taken the name of Otter, which is a Norse name. So in the 11th century, 9th, 10th, 11th century, it was very fashionable for Irish families, noble Irish families, to adopt Norse names. So, which is why you have a lot of surnames that people think are of Viking descent, but they're not. So yeah, it's just something to bear in mind when you're researching, or just allow me to research and I'll point it out, no problem. Can you do Boulder, please, mate? Not very common, so quite curious about it. Yeah, you're right. It's not very common. It's actually pretty rare. It's normally like Bulgar. I think, if I remember rightly, it's mostly found in Leinster. I don't know the origin point of it, but it's mostly found in Leinster, and it's like Bulgar. Because the only reason I actually know about this name is actually there was a very famous incident, a shooting, unfortunately, in England, and the guy had a name, and that was very similar to this one, and I just so happened to go to look up this thing, and because I think my phone is just predispositioned for searching Irish history after years of doing it on the same phone, it came up with this. So I've never fully researched it, but I just know it existed. It could be an English name that's come across to Ireland, but it does have an Irish spelling of the name. It could be. I think it. To me, it sort of leans towards a Norse name, like a Norse eponym. But I would have to really research that. But it's definitely found in Leinster. Happy birthday! Thank you, Young. Thank you very much. Appreciate that for the birthday wishes. Only not long now, and then that's it now. Do I still get to claim that I'm 36? I would have to wait. Now I'm officially 37. Is that how it works? Tierney, please. Yeah, I'll get to Tierney in 2 seconds. You do. By the way, everyone. Tierney's gifting and requesting. You do not have to gift to request a name. All this is free. All gifts are appreciated and really do help the channel. And really sort of help me towards my goal of eventually turning this into a full-time thing where I can do research for people and make it into a full-time job of some kind. But I will research. I will find your name on this map and I will talk about your name regardless of payments. I don't expect them. This is free information. I don't hide any information behind a paywall. This is our history and I think it should be free for everyone. So I give it willingly what I know, and if I don't know it, I research it for you guys. So so I just want to make that statement first. So before you carry on gifting, thinking, he's not looking at my name. I will get to it. I normally sort of pick a name as I'm going through, as I'm talking, so I know that what the next name I'm going to sort of go into. So I try to avoid any too long a pause between each sort of sentence, because I don't, so just bear that in mind. But thank you again, though. Please don't think I'm not appreciative of the gifts as well. So you were saying thank you, birthday, happy birthday, Mike. My name is Mike too. Have a good one, young. And yeah, it's very common. I think so. My name's Michael Doyle, and I think Michael's like the fifth most common first name in Ireland, and Doyle is the eighth most common surname in Ireland. So it's a perfect MI5 CIA name to have because they'd never be able to find you on Facebook. And Bowers is it's got a couple of a couple of branches, if you know what I mean. It's mostly associated with an English name, so maybe a Norman name, and it's found in sort of around the area, is the same area as Powers is. I believe, if I remember rightly, I can't remember which. I think it was Reverend Wolf makes a claim that it is a variation of McCulloch as well, which is found in Ulster. So there is a possibility it's an anglicisation of that. Because I can't remember, it's in an error though. It's not. It should never have been translated to that. But yeah, it's I believe it's Reverend Wolf. It's one of the genealogists, anyway. One of the famous genealogists makes that claim. But I've never followed up on that study yet. But I believe Bowers is mostly associated with Waterford, with the Normans. Campbell is a name that is Irish and Scottish. So there's unrelated Scottish branch. There's unrelated Irish branches to the main. Obviously, the most famous branch of Campbell is the Argyll family. Probably the most successful Scottish family in Scottish history, and they are. Well, in British history, really, they are, well attested. Come from the Odunia tribal group through their maternal line, but yeah, they end up being the most powerful family in Scottish history. Whether you think that's a good thing or a bad thing, whether their actions were good or bad is irrelevant. But anyway, but in Ireland, the MacCowells, and whenever the plantations sort of happened, and the MacCowells anglicised their name to Campbell, and so did the Callanans. So you find that modern day bearers of the name of Campbell in Ulster can be of Scottish or Irish origin, or of the Callaghans and Callaneans in Roscommon and Galway. So I do have a video that sort of goes into that a bit more. It's only a couple of videos back, so it shouldn't be too hard to find. It's the yellow and black coat of arms. If you're looking for it, that will give you a bit more sort of information on where they're all found, or where all the branches are found, and yeah. But that's a Campbell. So happy birthday! Thank you, Shane. Can you please do Quinlan? Yeah, Quinlan's a variation of a lot of names, like Conlan, Kenlan. I remember there's a one with a V in it, but I can't remember if it's like Quivlan or Quinevlan, or it's really weird when you look at it. But I can't remember that one off the top of my head. It's a variation of Conaline or Conaline. So there's sort of like the Irish version of it. It's mostly found in it's mostly anglicised to Conlan though. Conlan is probably, so anywhere you find Conlan is where you'll find the original Quinlans. That's where it mostly comes from. It's mostly associated with, I believe, Sligo. Oh, I'm not even moving this. My mouse is disconnected. It's mostly associated with Sligo and Meath. They're the two sort of areas that you sort of find it. Midlands and Connacht. Is Maxwell Irish or Scottish? So Maxwell, in its sort of form that you spelt it there, is mostly Scottish. It's mostly found in areas like, so it's actually found not far from where I am, in heavily Ulster, sort of Ulster Scotch areas, peninsular stuff like that. But I did remember seeing a few years ago the O'Meskills. I would anglicise their name to Maxwell. So the O'Meskills are, I haven't been able to find where they're related to, where the Miskills are from, and I don't know whether it's a name that, whether Maxwell's anglicised their name, or they are a separate branch. Reverend Wolf, who did a book on surnames, doesn't give any clue as to where they're from. I did read on John Graham's work that they are from, maybe from Galway, Tipperary, from this area of the woods, the O'Meskills, which anglicised to Maxwell's, but I haven't been able to chase that up further. I haven't done a deep dive on them. So if you're from Ulster, Maxwell, you're more than likely of Scottish descent. Oh, as you can see, that was my talk earlier. But if you're from South Leinster, Tipperary, Galway, Clare, Limerick, you're more than likely of Irish descent for the Maxwells. So yeah, it's just something to bear in mind. One of the many problems and pitfalls of Irish surnames is just that. Could you do Maroney? Maroney. Is that? Maroney. Is that a variation of Moel Runa? If it's a variation of Moel Runa, which is some more like Mulrooney, then they're Dalcashian, County Clare branch. But if they're not, if that's not a variation of the name, then I'm not sure. It also looks like a variation of O'Moran, in which case there's a lot of O'Morans, like descend from the Fiacra, which I've done a video on. But Maroney looks like it could be a couple of names. So Regina, I'll have to do a bit more research into that branch, because it looks like it could be a variation of a couple of names. Can you do Keane? I have done Keane, Jimmy. There's a full who else is from Ulster? Bar Girl Jimmy. I'm from Ulster. County Down. Jimmy, I've done a video on them. Jimmy Keane, on the O'Cahans, O'Kanes. So yeah. Yeah. Where are we going? Thank you for this information, really enjoyable. Thank you, Ryan Tower Productions. Spain was told they changed name of Flat Earls. I've 0 Spanish DNA, 96 Irish, mainly based in Ulster. Chris Keir, is that Keeler Cross, is it? Is this your YouTube thing? Who made just switch over for TikTok? I have these surnames in my heritage, but Scotland's Midlothian, Meany, McCardle, Kennedy, McCoy, all of them good Scottish names. All of them have Irish branches too. Tipperary area. Other than that, I don't have any information. Regina, I'm pretty sure then it's a variation of Muil Ruina, which are Dalcash family, just because of the link to Tipperary. Um, if you're the Maroonies, you can see like the O'Kennedys were part of the Upper Ormond in Tipperary. This is a heavily influenced, an area heavily influenced by the Dalcatians. So I would definitely say it's a variation of O'Meara. It is you, Kilcher, is it? Oh, I've got you on YouTube and TikTok. I can stalk you now. um, so, the story of how the English scribes mistranslated and anglicised some Gaelic Irish is first fascinating. Reddington being one in particular that leaves you wondering why. Yeah, I mean, to be fair, the way that I'm stalking you, it wasn't just the scribes. I feel like it's a bit unfair to give them all the credit for being so terrible. It was people too. We have to remember that literate people was very rare in Ireland. So especially after the especially later on in Irish later medieval period, early modern period. So people can have different understandings of their spelling, and also it's about like standardization. So you try to group everyone in the same area with the same sort of name. You're not going to apply different spellings in the local area. So if one noble just comes in and goes, yeah, this is how I spell my name, it's how I've spelled it for centuries, and then they just everyone who has a similar sounding name just ends up with that name. It's not the scribe's fault, it's that noble or it's that powerful individual. So I don't want to give them all the bad credit, but yeah, I get your point. It's just one of those. Story is mostly is mostly Scottish, from the Border Reaver family. They're from they're a Border Reaver family from the English side, I believe, though, from like Northumberland. So yeah, I don't know of any Irish branches of the stories. It's possible, but I'm just well aware that most of them are from England, and they were part of the Border Reaver, so they came across with the plantations. Excuse me. Can you tell me about Burke? Burkes are very famous. Probably, I would say, one of the three most influential families in later medieval, early modern period Ireland. Burke, Fitzgeralds, and Butlers. The Burkes are one of the later additions to Irish history from the De Burghs. They came across in 1172 with Henry II. They originally are lords of Ulster. For one of the branches ends up being part of Connacht, part of Mayo, and of Galway. Couldn't even figure out that county's name for a second. They actually split off into two main branches, MacWilliam and Clanricarde Burkes. They actually become bitter rivals, and it kind of comes to a bit of a head at the Battle of Knockdoe in 1502, I want to say. I do have a video on the Red Button channel about that, if you want a bit more context on that. But yeah, very, very famous family. One of the families that are well attested for becoming more Irish than the Irish themselves. They really Gaelicized themselves. But I do have a video not recently on TikTok where I defend the Burkes. One of my mutuals was called out called a colonizer for having the Burke surname, and I had to put that person in their place. Thank you so very much. I love hearing your wealth of knowledge. I stop everything I'm doing when you go live. Oh, Mary, I appreciate that a lot. I don't know what to say. As an Irishman, I don't take compliments very well. So all I could say is that I'm sorry for taking you away from important things. But thank you very much. O'Moran, I have a video. And O'Meara, I have a video, and people asking for the O'Morans and the O'Mearas. I have a two videos, one video of each on my TikTok, and then for the O'Meara, I actually have a full 25-minute video of their history on the Red Button channel. But they are from Up Ormond. They claim to be Dalcassian descent, so they claim to be related to the O'Briens. Dr. Paul McCarter believes this is a later fabrication to align themselves with the O'Kennedys, and believes they may actually be from an Ornocta branch or an Dalburn branch in Kilkenny. All this area was owned by the Butlers. The first record of O'Meara's owning land in Tipperary is through a land grant from a Butler, so it seems plausible. But if you want to know more about the O'Mearas, go to more information than that. Go to the Red Button channel, and there's, like I say, there's a full history on that. And O'Moran has a lot of origin points. Ulster, Connacht, Meath. There's a lot. It comes from about 3 eponyms, so 3 different personal names. Might even be 4. But check out the video, and I break it all down for you. So there's that. See, I've never done 2 lives in the same day before, so I'm starting to. I should have had another cup of tea, and maybe I'd lubricated the old voice box a wee bit. Lippy Mac, yes, I've seen your request, shall we say. McClellan's, I think I've covered these before in my lives. I'm not quite sure. They are mostly Scottish. I don't know of any Irish variations of McClellan. I don't remember any Irish off the top of my head right now. The name is Gaelic, or originally Gaelic, or Gaelga in origin, and it comes from a variation of McGilla-Fuelon. Now, McGilla-Fuelon is also an Irish name, so there are branches of the McGilla-Fuelon in Ireland, but I don't know if they anglicised their name to McClelland. So it's because the McGilla-Fuelon normally in Ireland anglicise their name to names like Fallon, Healon, Gilliland, Highland, Keelan, Leland. So I think McClelland is predominantly Scottish, and I do believe that they're one of the families that claimed to come across with the gallo glass in the 13th century. So, but most would probably be in Ulster would be of plantation descent. I always keep forgetting Banbridge isn't counted out. I always think it's Armagh due to proximity. Yeah, I mean it literally is, right there. But no, we are currently down, and if you ever mistake us for being Armagh again, I will have you blocked, Matt. Just that is your first and last warning for such hate crimes, to think that we in Banbridge are from Armagh. We want nothing to do with you. And I would never have this conversation in front of my dad, who is an Armagh man. No, it is very close. It's very close. It's literally, I think, 8 mile. Can you tell me about the O'Learys? Most O'Learys come from Cork, from the Cork Ilera, or I believe they might be Eliathon or Cork Ilera. I can't remember. I think they're from the Cork Ilera. So one of the tribal groups. They're not related to the likes of the McCarthys, although I do believe in later times they do try to graft their genealogy onto McCarthys. Not the McCarthys, but the Ornocta tribal group, but they're not. They're from the Cork Ilera. So, and they're from the southeast. But yeah, Doyle or O'Sullivan. So I have a video on both. I have a long form video of O'Sullivan on the old Red Button channel, and Doyle's I have a video on. Welcome, fellow Doyle. Most Doyles are. I haven't done a Doyle tonight, so I will do it tonight. So most generic online websites will paint Doyle as a Viking surname because it means dark stranger or dark foreigner. This is baloney. It Dovegal does mean that, but it's not where the name sort of comes from. So it's a very first things first. There are Scottish branches, there are Norman branches, there are even branches that came across that were originally Norman England came across with the plantations. It's a variation of Dowell, like McDowell. It's a variation of the Doily. It's a variation of a lot, but then obviously it's a variation of Dovegal, and Dovegal. So it seems likely that the original use of Dovegal, the Irish one, was used as a personal name, but it doesn't. It's not attributed to a great dynasty. No family no individual of Dovegal founded a great dynasty that took over a kingdom, or there was one of the famous ones found in the annals. He is a king of Idrone down here, and maybe the progenitor of a branch of Doyle's down in South Leinster. My family is actually from this area of the world, and we have no connection to the Wicklow branches. But anyway, the Irish branches tend to come from families moving into Norse settlements. So if you were an Irish family and you moved into a Viking settlement to work, to marry, whatever, this seems to have been like a term attributed to these individuals, and then these individuals have taken this as a surname later on. But I do, like I say, I do have a video on this. So just looking at your map, are the Calahans in Armagh related to those in Cork? Seems very unlikely, but I thought I'd ask, as some Irish surnames are very common across Ireland, excluding the very common. Yes, it's a great question. These are Calahanes. There are we've got Calahanes, you've got Calahans, and it's the same with like the Kavanaghs, most famously associated with, actually the most famous Kavanaghs are from Leinster, descended from Kavanagh MacMurrough, but no, they're not related. So there's a lot of branches all over Ireland that have the same name, but they are not related. So the Calahanes up here, I believe, are an Erna family, and are attributed with landholding family in Archella, but they're not related. I need to make sure that I don't miss this. I haven't been given my TikTok warning yet, and that's worrying because it's 12 minutes past. Am I going to get in trouble, TikTok? What's the difference between short and short in Armagh? Nothing. It's just spelling. I can't stay much longer. Thank you for sharing info. I would love to learn more about the Flahertys. Are you still going to be here for the Flahertys? Or should I just, I don't know if you're going to be, should I just sit now? Just sit now in case you're here? I don't know I don't want to, well, I mean, I'll just do the Flahertys, and then, we'll see. So yeah, the Flahertys are they're part of County Clare, but they're actually part of a Galway family called the Monitor Mercada, and that's where the main royal family are from. That's not the main royal family, but they're the most numerous, they're the most famous, they're the most prominent in Irish records. But there are also smaller seps found all over Ireland. Um, uh, Part of there you go, Flaherty's. There's also smaller steps found in, I believe, in Roscommon, who are earners, and also a bunch of them were found in um, Ulster as well. So you do get smaller branches of the name, or variations of the name, that can be anglicised to that. But the Flahertys are definitely, this is the Galway Flahertys are the most, like, famous branch, I suppose. um, uh, you take the compliment with a good cup of tea. I love a good cup of tea. And that's not a Father Ted joke either. Although we used to call my mother Mrs. Doyle. Callahan's in my family tree in your area aren't written as Callahan. I guess they were the same, but the name got more anglicised. Yeah, more than likely, Matt. That's more than likely what's happened. It's the right area, you know. So it is very possible that they are. Now you've got to remember, there's multiple variations. If you watch any of the videos, there's multiple variations I put on the very beginning of every video, which are variations of the name. I can't put them all in one area. That would just take up the whole county for one name. Flaherty on the map. Yes, it is on the map. Phew. Alan is a variation of so many names. So many names. The most famous Scottish branch that come across from Ireland came across the Inishowen as Gallowglass, MacAleen. I believe they are associated with the Campbells, but Alan is literally found everywhere. It's because of it being an abbreviation of a lot of names. It gets, unfortunately, comes from a lot of places. It like say, it comes from the MacFuilin. I've already sort of talked about them. It comes against the against the O'Halleans. It gets anglicised Alan from the MacCallans. They're all sort of variations and get anglicised to Alan. So most are found in Ulster, but they can be both Scottish or Irish descent. Yeah, it's one of those problematic names. Although there's a lot of them, there is a lot of them, unfortunately, and if I was to sit here all night and point to them, I probably would miss about half of them. To be fair. Can you do Hannah Finn as the modern variation, please? Hannah Finn is the modern variation, isn't it? Is there other variations that I should know about? I mean, apart from your Hannah Finn's got an extra, I think, couple of N's and a couple of F's. F's, really? F's. Is that because it's getting late? And then I'm coming out with F's. Anyway, Hannah Finn's mostly Kerry. It's found in Kerry. I don't know. I don't think they're part of the Corker Dovna tribe. They're not. So it's only the O'Connells, O'Sheas, and O'Falveys that are tested in the Corker Dovna tribal group, which means that they're probably related to one of the groups like the Cianocta. No, not the Lucra. The Chiara Lucra. That's it. Couldn't even remember the name of them. Chiara Lucra up here. No one is called McReynolds in Leitrim. It's just Reynolds. Nobody's called McReynolds in Leitrim. That's a bold statement to make. Glyn Fitzgerald, that is a bold statement to make. That no one is called McReynolds. in Leitrim. I'm going to actually. Shall we do that? Shall we do that list really quickly? Mac Reynolds. Let's have a look. We're gonna do it. Let me get my phone up. So I don't know how to spell Mac Reynolds. I've forgotten. Ballygriffin surnames. Should we do it that way? Am I being a bit rude? Checking this out. No, I want to know. This is. I'm not going to prove you wrong. I'm just nosy now. Ballygriffin censuses. Ballygriffin census. Can't even speak. You might be right. Well done. MacReynolds is found mostly in Ulster. Well, according to this 1901 census. I tip my hat off to you. But still, Reynolds would still be MacReynolds. It comes from MacRagnall, and that's an anglicisation of MacReynolds, so we're going for it. I'm not changing it. You can't make me. This is my channel. Stop bullying me. Glyn. Right. O'Gorman. So Gorman comes from a lot of names. But I love the O'Gormans for one reason. Is that they have one of the longest genealogies that can be traced through the annals. As earners of Clonmacnoise, and so Clonmacnoise is a monastic site, very famous monastic site in Tipperary. So yeah, but it comes from a lot of places. Perhaps the name over time dropped Mac, but never heard of it. Yeah, it more than likely it's obviously because it comes from MacRagnall. So obviously they've had the Mac in front of the name at some point. But like you say, in the closest I could find to MacReynolds in 1901 census on a brief look is Fermanagh. Which is no doubt probably related in some way. But no, good shout out. But everyone, that's local knowledge for you. You can't beat local knowledge in any location. It's the same with whenever people come up to me and ask about the Mulryans or the O'Ryans, and I'll always point you to the Tipperary Antiquarian, because he studies the O'Ryans, will know more than I ever will. Same if you go to the Forsa Fiercer channel by Owen O'Neill. If you want to know anything about the Kerry history, he's your individual. Take out Dwayne Fitzsimmons on TikTok as well for any information on the Lee Cale area. You know, these are individuals with local knowledge that I study surname locations and histories. I have 3,500 names to look up. I can't know little amazing tidbits like Glyn's just provided there. Always if you can, go for local knowledge. You know, and they will provide you with just great pieces of information like that. I'm waiting for you to say there's a Reynold MacReynolds. There's a Reynold MacReynolds? Are you waiting to say that there's me to do the MacReynolds? Is that what you're waiting for? MacReynolds is obviously found in, well, let's just correct this. Reynolds is found in Leitrim, but MacReynolds is tends to be found in like Antrim and Fermanagh, and it's both sort of Irish, Scottish, and English. The English ones normally obviously is just Reynolds, but a lot of families drop the Mac between the 16th and 19th century, so you do get a lot of Reynoldses that are Irish or Scottish in descent, not English. So it's it would be very hard to just tell who's who. The Reynolds name in England obviously just comes from Reynolds, but the Irish and Scottish ones comes from Muckragnum. Excuse me. So they're probably which is a Norse name that was adopted, a Norse name that was adopted by Irish families, the same way the McAuliffes were, the same way the O'Harolds were. They were adopting these Norse names as Irishmen. Munro, there we go. We're going to talk about. So Munro is Scottish, but the funny thing about the Munros in Scotland is they actually claim descent from an Irish family, the O'Cahans O'Kanes of Ulster, who are part related to the O'Neills, which is always Kelly from the Isle of Man. Yeah, Kelly's Scottish, Irish, English, so many. Oh no, I thought you were going to find in your search someone of that name. That would be hilarious. Maguire, there I am. You are there, Maguire. Part of the Eirchella, expanded as the Eirchella Kingdom, this was the heartland primarily, expanded into Fermanagh. The Maguires broke off and became their own kings, and their castle, Inniskillen Castle, is now a museum. It's a great place to go. It's in Inniskillen, obviously, with the name Inniskillen Castle, and well worth a visit. Yeah. Okay. Right. Keating it's got Irish and Scottish branches, but most of them are Norman and they're from the south. But I believe there is I know there's an Irish branch too that gets anglicised Keating, but I've only found that out very recently, so I haven't researched it yet. But I think if you want to know more, I found it through Reverend Wolf's research. So if you want to beat me to it, go ahead. Or if you just want to wait for me to come up, finish the research, then I will. Campbell, I've done Campbell's, but if you're looking for I do have the video already. McCaffrey, please. Yeah, McCaffrey's. Could you say please? McCaffrey's they should be on here. Are they not on here? You would think they would be on there. I'm surprised that another name that actually gets a reference to, like I was saying about families taking on Norse names. McCaffrey's a variation of Godfrey, so it often gets associated with Norse sort of relations, but they're not. They're a branch of the Maguires. My nan is a McCabe. Well, your nan is from a family that got hired by the O'Rourkes and the O'Reillys. So they were a Gallowglass family, a heavy infantry, hereditary family, originally from Scotland. But a lot of people don't realise that whenever these Gallowglass came across from Scotland as hired mercenaries, and these were hereditary jobs that they passed down, a lot of their ranks were filled with Irishmen over time, because obviously they're dying more than they can replenish the ranks. It takes 14 years to recruit a person being born from your clan group, and then raised as a soldier, so they don't have enough to go around. So a lot of Irishmen are filling their ranks. But the McCabe's originally come from Scotland. It comes from Cabba. Actually, I think I have a video on this. Yeah, I have a video on the McCabe's. But anyway, they're hired by the O'Rourkes and the O'Reillys, and both of them, so they end up having to fight their own kinsmen in the O'Rourke-O'Reilly wars, which is O'Keefe are part of the Owen Octor. They're related to the likes of the McDonagh McCarthy's, McAuliffes. They founded Duhallow, the area of Duhallow in Cork, County Cork. So yeah, McDevitt is a variation of McDade, McDavitt. They are a branch of the O'Dohertys, very closely related to the O'Dohertys. famously took part in their 1609 rebellion. So yeah, it's there's a lot. That's where most McDavids and all those variations come from. Um, uh, yeah, Duffy, please. Yeah, Duffy's another name from Donegal. Oh goodness, oh, where we've lost. You're looking at a manuscript right now. So Duffy's got a lot of variations. It's a nickname for it's a abbreviation of a lot of names like Dowie and Dewey. It's mostly found in sort of like say like in Donegal. It's found in Roscommon. I don't think I've written it on there yet. It's also found in my family, the Duffys. I've got Duffy relations. They're originally from like Monaghan and Armagh. And then they were rulers of an area in Monaghan. I can't remember the name of it, but they're quite well attested. And then you have the Scottish Duffys that are a variation of McAfee and McPhee, and they come across with the plantations of Ulster as well. So you will find that the Monaghan or Armagh branch of Duffys are almost interchangeable with the Scottish ones because they probably don't know who's who anymore. O'Neill, but from Portugal, probably from the more famous O'Neills of Ulster. Very famously ended up in a lot of them. Very famously ended up in Spain and Portugal as the wild geese. But yeah, they but there are other O'Neill branches like the O'Neills of the Burrons, who are probably related to the O'Briens, and then there's a branch of the O'Neills who are part of the Dacia, which is a group down in Waterford. So 3 branches of the O'Neills. Just to make it more confusing because Irish history isn't confusing enough, really. So we just thought, stuff it. Let's just make more than one O'Neill family, but make sure that everyone's ever heard of one of them, just to make my life harder. What's happening? What is your thoughts on families in the same area, same townland, some of them with O's, Macs, and others don't? Were those that didn't drop prefix more Irish? No, so what happened was most of the O's and Macs in Irish surnames actually didn't come back until the 19th century. Nearly everyone dropped theirs in the 17th century after the Tudor conquest of Ireland. It was most people dropped them or completely changed their name. But then in the Gaelic revival, so there was a huge surge of nationalism in Europe, sweeping Europe in the 19th century, a lot of romanticism, and a lot of families re-Gaelicized their names in that movement that was happening all over Europe. A lot of people incorrectly. So there were families who were putting muck in front of their name that never ever had muck in front of their name. It was always O. 4 centuries before, or 2.5 centuries before, and were putting O's in front of their name that never had O's. And then there were some that just didn't. Oh, not my speaker. Just some who just didn't bother. As far as they're concerned, that's their name. And then you had families overly Gaelicizing the name, so they had the surname White, and suddenly they called themselves Oban or Muckban, because they just thought, oh well, that's the Irish for white, but their name was never that. So there's a lot of like errors, which is why names are so interchangeable now, because of the 19th century sort of wave of reclaiming our heritage, but we kind of did it haphazardly. I learned O'Brady dropped the O when they came to America. A lot of families did that too. So you had families going to the Americas in the 19th century, and then they were finding this like discriminatory, and there were obviously a lot of the areas they were moving into were traditionally the groups like from Ulster Scottish heritage, and obviously there's a lot of animosity there, a lot of discrimination. So they were dropping these links to Gaelic Ireland. So yeah, it's one of those things where the McSherry's from. The McSherry's are mostly from Munster, but they're actually a Scottish family originally. They're a Gallowglass family. Very famously, their area of operation was mostly in Munster. I do have a bit of information about them. If you go onto the Gallowglass clans on my Red Button channel, you will see a bit of information about them. McKeever is son of Ivor McIver. Can be found in Ireland and Scotland. It's mostly associated with Scotland, or of Norse ancestry. They claim to be descendants of a Norseman called Ivor, but like I said before, in the 9th to 10th century, it was quite popular for Irish families to adopt Norse names. So McCart is another variation of O'Hart, or an abbreviation of McCarthy. So it can be found anywhere you find the surname McCarthy or O'Hart. Can also be a variation of McCart. Mullen is a branch of the O'Cahans. So if you go watch that video, you'll see a lot of their history is related to the Mullins. But yeah, they're mostly found in Antrim. That's Mullen. Yeah, they're O'Gara from Donegal. Most of the Garas come from Sligo. Obviously, it's not a far push. Probably your O'Garas made their way up north during the Industrial Revolution or during the famine or anything like that, and have settled up there. So, new here. Have you ever covered the Dunleavy family? I have not. I have not covered the Dunleavy. The MacDunleavys. So the MacDunleavys are interesting family, in the sense of they are well attested in the annals. Go figure. And they're rulers of the Dal Fiatach. Now, the Dal Fiatach, I love the Dal Fiatach. So the Dal Fiatach are a tribal group. Do we have a map for the Dal Fiatach? Do we have a map for the Dal Fiatach? I don't get to cover them enough. This is the group here. So the MacDunleavys are the ruler of this group here, and so this area here is traditionally ruled by the Cruithne, or the Dalriada, the Echocovo, the Dalriada, and this is Cruithne territory. But it's not all. There's a rivalry between the Cruithne and the Gaelic group, the Dal Fiatach, right? So the Dal Fiatach are calling themselves the Ullid, which everyone knows is where Ulster gets its name from. They're calling themselves the Ullid. Anyway, the Dal, to legitimise the Cruithne's rule of Ulster, these groups start referring to themselves as the Ullid. So the Dal Fiatach start having to refer to themselves as the true Ullid. So the Dal Fiatach have always considered themselves the true Ulstermen. They are the original Ulstermen in medieval history. And they're the only family, so the Dalriada start editing their genealogies, the Cruithne start editing their genealogies, the Oanocta edit their genealogies, the Dalcash, the O'Neills, the Neil editor. The Dal Fiatach never edit their genealogy. They are who they are, proud of who they are, and who they are is the true Ulsterman, the original Ulsterman. So so I love the Dunleavys. It's they have a great history. I can't wait to do their video. And I have no relation to them. That sounds very biased. But yeah, McEwen is a variation of a lot of names. McOwen, which gets anglicized to McHugh. They're found everywhere. The most famous McEwens, though, are mostly claim descent from the O'Neills in Ulster. They're probably the most famous branch uh, of uh, of the McEwens. But I believe there's even Scottish branches of the name as well. So it can be found all over. McGowan's is another family that gets is associated with Dalriada. There's a branch of them there. There's a branch who are associated with Roscommon too. So there's a couple of them, and there's also the Scottish McGowans as well, who come across. So it's a Scottish and Irish surname. So, right. Thanks. Can't wait for that video. No, can't wait to when I get to it. It's not. Unfortunately, I have a list. Of names. So, I have to go through them. Right. But it's way past my bedtime. I've done 2 lives tonight. So I need to get some sleep. I need to do. It's 12:30 here. Someone was asking about the O'Dyers. So I'll just quickly, while I'm sort of getting ready to close things down, I'll sort of just reel off some of the surnames I've seen while I've been waffling away. But yeah, the O'Dyers are a Tipperary family. The O'Dempseys are a Laois family. The O'Hagans, I have a video on the O'Hagans. Most O'Hagans come from Tyrone. It's a variation of O'Adagan as well, so there are branches that sort of exist, all over Ireland, which I highlight. But it's very rare for them to become O'Hagans, but they still do. I'm guessing the Dunleavys owned that famous Dunleavy Castle on the Causeway Coast. I don't think they did. No, they did not. I'm pretty sure they did not. The McDonalds did. I know that much. And obviously, that's when the kitchen fell through. That's why it got abandoned. When the kitchen fell into the sea. I know, and I think they took it from the McQuillans. Oh, it's not Dunleavy, it's Dunluce I'm thinking of. But anyway, right, I'm gonna go. I'm mixing up Dunleavy and Dunluce, for goodness sake. But I will be back. Thank you very much to GB2221, Ivy Leaks, Mary, Chloe. Thank you very much for the gifts, Sean, Murray, Shannon, AJ, Emily, Boan, Brandy, Chris, Billy, Tierney. Oh, Tierney, are you still here? I was meant to do your name, but I got waffling. I feel bad now. GB2221. Yeah, Boylan is a Monaghan surname. I think you said something about Armagh, which wouldn't be too far, obviously, from the. They actually a group from the Dartry, which is DARTRAIGH, which I have just been researching. Let me Boland. Let me see. So, yeah, it's also a variation of Boelen and Boland. So it can be found in Sligo. It can be found in County Clare. It looks like there's 2 branches in County Clare. But yeah, I am in the middle of researching that area of Monaghan. Um, Ulster family from Chiefs of Dartry, Barony of Dartry, West of Monaghan, one time of all Oriels. So they were one time chiefs of Erchiela, which is this area here. So there you go. I am in the middle of researching them, so you will get a video about them very soon, GB221. So Akira, what about the north? I don't understand. Thank you. No, you're very welcome. Thank you for the gifts. You did not have to gift. None of you have to gift. Remember that. But thank you so very much for those that do. Laura, K9 Soul, Stephen Bryan. Thank you very much. Like, do you cover the Northness? I literally just covered about the famous true Ulsterman, the proper Ulsterman, the Macdon Levies. Oh, that's what they call themselves. I cover all this. I've done O'Neill's, I've done O'Keehan's tonight, I've done Macdon Levies, I've done O'Hanlon's. I mean, if you're asking about Northern Ireland, the actual country, Northern Ireland's very modern. It doesn't. I cover medieval history, so I don't cover modern history. I'm not interested in things that happened in like people's lifetimes. In Northern Ireland, there are people older than Northern Ireland, so it's well within people's lifetimes. But I do cover Ulster history, the plantations, the families that came across, the Battle of the Boyne, all the good stuff. I'm sure you've done them all, but I'm new to your page. No, I haven't done them all yet. There's still a lot of families I'm still to do. But we'll make our way through this. Indigenous Canadian here, super interesting learning about different Indigenous people like Ireland. Yeah, thank you very much, Miranda Dawn. Thank you very much. I follow a lot of Indigenous people from a lot of channels. And just as I'm about to say, like from I'm very interested in a lot of histories. I like to see how our histories overlap. I like to see how our cultures overlap, tribal cultures. You know, how they all overlap. I know tribal can be a bit of a loose word, but I'm just using it as an example. So. My granddad is an O'Neill from the Ardoyne. Oh, I know they are doing well. Right, you're so right. It's done loose my. Oh, Matt, you were gaslighting me, Matt. You were gaslighting me. You were making me feel like I was the one going crazy. Right. Anyway, I am going tonight. You've had 2 lives tonight. You've been spoiled. But I will say thank you all very much. It's so interesting. Yes, tribal, 60 mile away, different tribe. Yeah, we had the same problem, but 2 mile down the road you get a different accent. I will cover more families. I'll be back tomorrow. I'll cover more families, but it's been lovely. Thank you all those that gifted. Thank you all those that became members. Kira, thank you very much for the gift there. I will. McKeown comes from all over Ireland. But the most famous branch is a branch of the O'Neills. I'm actually going to be doing a video on them soon. Right, stop dragging me here, guys. I want to answer all your questions, but I can't. I need to go to bed. There's Joyce. Bye, cousin. Yes, take care, Dennis. Yeah, Doyle's the best surname. Right, have a great night. Until then, Gurmargach for all the gifts and all the likes. Thank you very much, and until then, take care of yourselves. I'll speak to you all tomorrow. Shlán go fóill. Right. Thanks, Matt. Thanks to everybody. Centre Girl, thank you very much. Oh, sorry, I didn't get your McManus one done. I apologise for that. I didn't see it until just now. I went to say goodbye to everyone, and then I was like, oh no, I've missed names. I mean, to be fair, I miss names all the time. I can fire you. You're a Fermanagh family. Just quickly, McManus. If you're still here, I don't know. You McManus are a branch of the Maguires, and they were chiefs. They had a hereditary title, chief of the fisheries, I believe. So there you go. So if you're still here, that's a wee bit of information for you before I finally hit the hay. Right, I'll speak to you all soon though. Slán go fóill. Thanks very much everyone.